If you've been waiting for home prices to drop in the Fraser Valley, they just did. Prices have come down around 6 to 7% in the past 12 months. But here's what nobody's talking about. Experts are predicting a big increase in sales in 2026, which means if you're sitting on the fence, you might miss the best buying opportunity we've seen in years. Let's start with the market reality. The Fraser Valley Real Estate Board just put out its November 2025 numbers, and there's over 9,000 homes sitting on the market right now. That number alone tells you everything about where we're at. There's no other way to say it. This is a buyer's market. We had 943 sales on the MLS in November. That's down 17% compared to the same month last year. And that inventory number I mentioned, it's 47% above the 10-year seasonal average. Let me say that again, 47% more homes to choose from than we typically see this time of year. That's a lot of selection. The sales to active listings ratio is sitting around 10%. If you're not familiar with that number, here's what you need to know. A balanced market sits between 12 to 20%. Below 12%, like we are now, that's a buyer's market, and above 20%, that's a seller's market. So at 10%, we are firmly in buyer's market territory. And stick with me because in a few minutes, I'll talk about what could happen in 2026. Those predictions completely flip this current dynamic on its head. Now, that being said, I'm seeing this play out every day. I've had first-time buyers reach out to me lately, and honestly, that hasn't happened much over the past couple years. When first-time buyers start getting back into the market, that tells you something is changing. So let's look at what's actually happening with those prices. Now listen, if you're one of those first-time buyers trying to figure out if this Fraser Valley market is really your opportunity, we work with people making their first home purchases in Surrey, Langley, White Rock all the time. So if you're thinking about getting in the market, give us a call. We can walk you through what these inventory numbers actually mean for your specific situation and budget. All of our contact info is in the description below. All right, now back to what's been happening with prices. Prices are dropping month after month. That's not a blip, that's a pattern that's been happening all year. So what about the actual numbers? The combined benchmark price for a home in the Fraser Valley right now is $912,400. Let me break this down by property type. For single family detached home, the benchmark price is just over 1.4 million. That's down 5.4% year over year. Townhomes are at 778,700. That's down 6.8% from last year. And condos have actually seen the biggest drop. The benchmark is 496,500. That's down 6.9% compared to November 2024. So if you're a buyer watching the market, waiting for the prices to come down, this is what it looks like. Months in a row of declines and inventory levels we haven't seen in over a decade. Now, why is this all happening over the past year? Economic uncertainty has buyers sitting on the sidelines, and that's created something we haven't seen in years. So you might be wondering, why are prices dropping when everyone thought the market was going to get better in 2025? Well, a few things are going on. First, those economic concerns. We've got the trade worries, tariff talks, job market uncertainty. All that has made buyers hesitant to jump in. Second, and this is the big one, even though mortgage rates have come down, lending has gotten tighter. Right now, buyers are dealing with more scrutiny, higher down payment requirements, etc. from lenders. And that's definitely slowing things down. And third, because of these first two things, we've got this huge inventory buildup. Sellers have been listing homes, but buyers have been waiting. So you end up with more supply than demand. And when that happens, prices come down. That's just how it works. So with all this being said, what are the experts predicting for next year? I'll tell you what they're predicting, about a 21% jump in Fraser Valley sales. That's what BC REA is predicting for next year. Now here's where it gets really interesting. While the current market favors buyers, the predictions for 2026 tell a completely different story. The British Columbia Real Estate Association just put out its fourth quarter housing forecast. They're predicting MLS residential sales in BC will rise 12.8% in 2026. That's 81,700 units across the province. The chief economist at BC REA said that despite a tough 2025, he expects a strong handoff to 2026 as activity picks up heading into the new year. And just wait until we get to the actual communities, because you'll see exactly where this forecast plays out most dramatically in the areas that I cover. Now, what about prices? They're predicting the average price in all of BC will rise 4% in 2026. And when you zoom in on the Fraser Valley specifically, the BC REA is predicting Fraser Valley sales could climb by over 21% year over year in 2026, and prices could increase just over 1%. So if you're thinking about buying, the question becomes, do you wait until 2026 when more buyers are competing and prices are climbing again? Or do you take advantage of what we have right now? Negotiating power, selection, and prices that are already way down from their peaks. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will say this: the numbers right now favor buyers, and that window might not stay open forever. How these predictions affect you really depends on where you sit in the market. So what does this mean for different buyers? Detached homes in the Fraser Valley take 52 days on average before they sell. For a detached home, that's a lot of time for buyers to negotiate. So what does this mean for your situation? If you're a first-time buyer, this is the type of opportunity people have been waiting for. Prices are down, there's tons of inventory, and you've got room to negotiate. And for condos, the average days on market right now is 41 days. For townhomes, it's 37 days. That tells you properties are sitting longer. And when properties sit longer, sellers get more motivated, and that's good news if you're buying. Now, if you're looking to move up, it's the same kind of thing. If you're selling your current place and buying something bigger, you might get a little less for your home, but you're also paying less for that next step up. The savings on the purchase side often make up for what you leave on the table when you sell. They always say it's best to move up in a down market. And here's the quick math. If the market drops by 10%, your $750,000 townhouse, let's say, would have dropped by $75,000. 10% of $750,000. But a house that was worth, say, $1.5 million would have dropped $150,000. And if you're a seller right now, I'm going to be straight with you. It's competitive out there. There's a lot of homes for buyers to choose from, so pricing correctly from the start is more important than ever. The good news, buyers are still out there. 943 sales happened in November. Sales are happening. You just need to be smart about it. So looking ahead, what should you be watching for as we head into 2026? We have 45,000 homes for sale across BC right now, and that's a fairly big number, but it won't last forever if demand picks up. So let me share a few things I'm keeping my eye on as we head into the new year. First, interest rates. The Bank of Canada has already made some cuts this year. If they keep dropping rates, that's going to bring more buyers back. And when more buyers show up, competition goes up. And even if they don't continue to drop rates, rates are back to historically low levels. Variable mortgages at just under 4%. You can get a 5-year fixed for just over 4%. Second, inventory levels. That 45,000 number I mentioned can change. If demand picks up faster than new listings come on, that inventory will get absorbed fast. And third, the spring market. Historically, spring is when things really heat up. If the predictions are right about 2026, we could see a much busier market heading into March or April. So if you're thinking about making a move, you might want to get ahead of that rush. Why not get your house on the market now? Get it sold in January or February, and then be in a great position to buy when the inventory comes on in the spring. Just a thought. These factors are playing out all across the communities I work in. Let me show you where. Before I wrap up, let me quickly touch on the areas I work in every day, which are also seeing these buyer-friendly conditions right now. If you're looking in Surrey, it's BC's second largest city, and it's growing fast. You've got those 6 distinct town centers here, everything from city center with great transit access to Guildford, Cloverdale, and a few others. South Surrey gives you that coastal vibe and ocean views, plus you're close to the US border. Langley is another one we do a ton of work in. You got that mix of rural charm, urban convenience out there. Fort Langley, historic sites, wineries, breweries, everywhere you look. Great for people who want that outdoor access, but still want good restaurants and shops close by. And then there's White Rock, with that famous waterfront, over 470 meters of pier that stretches out in the ocean. Pedestrian friendly with tons of local shops and restaurants along the promenade. If you want that seaside lifestyle, White Rock is hard to beat. And all 3 of these communities are seeing similar conditions right now. Good inventory, motivated sellers, and room for buyers to negotiate. First-time buyers are reaching out again after years of sitting on the sidelines. And that tells you more about this market than any statistic could. What we're seeing in the Fraser Valley right now is abnormal. Prices are down almost 6% year over year on the composite HPI index. Townhomes and condos are down even more, close to 7%. Inventory, 47% above the 10-year average, and that sales to active ratio is at 10%. This is what a buyer's market looks like. But here's the thing, the predictions for 2026 suggest this window might be closing. Sales are expected to jump over 20% in the Fraser Valley next year. Prices are expected to start climbing again. The pent-up demand that's been building, at some point, that's going to get released. And when it does, we could be looking at a very different market. This window exists because most people are still waiting, and windows like this don't stay open forever. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to know what your home's worth in today's market, or you're ready to see what's actually available in your price range before those prices climb, give us an email, info@moteam.ca, or give us a call, 604-229-7855, or check the contact info in the description below. Now, if you don't live in the area and you're curious what a nice Fox Ridge built home in the Surrey area looks like, take a look at the video here where it takes you on a tour of ours listing in the Provincetown area. It's a great home, so you're gonna want to check that out and just see what a nice home in this area actually looks like. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again soon.